Hi friends, this is Omer Khadri, working as an assistant professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, MUX College of Engineering and Technology. I am here to present a team activity of Introduction to Research Methodologies. My team members are Mohammad Ismail B, working as a senior assistant professor in Department of Electrical Engineering of same college, MUX College of Engineering and Technology. Another team member is Mohammad Zafar, working as a lecturer in Nath Polytechnic, Aurangabad. We are here today to present a role play on the basic concept of multiplexers and demultiplexers. So let's start. As you can see on a screen, there is a animation called as a role play. Next. Role play is nothing but an effective learning aid, as well as it is a teaching aid. By enacting the human actions, we will be in a position to explain the different concepts of the topic to the students, to the delegates, by enacting it. Coming to the next slide, we have an introduction of a role play. As I've told you that it is nothing but an effective aid for learning and teaching, which involves the audience as well as visual presentation of the audience. Now, what exactly is the multiplexers? The question arises in mind, what is a multiplexer? Multiplexer is nothing but a digital combinational logic circuit or a combinational logic circuit which have many inputs and a single output. Now, multiplexer is meant for transferring the data from input to the output. There are many inputs and one output. So how this many input data is going to be transferred to one of the output, that totally depends on the select line. There is another input which is called as a select line or control input, and that is why multiplexer is called as a data selector. It connects a multiple input to the output. The inputs are decided in the form of 2, 4, 8, 16. Now the question arises, why only the even number of the inputs are at the multiplexers? So the next point is that always there is a relation between a data inputs, data lines, and the select inputs. This is a relation which indicates that for a 2 raised to n is to 1 multiplexer, small n is nothing but a number of select lines or select inputs, and 2 raised to n is the number of data lines. From this two upper part only we can understand that always the number of data lines will be even, that is in the form of 2, 4, 8, 16. This is a block diagram of 2 is to 1 multiplexer where there is a one input A, second input B, there is a select line, and finally one output. These are named as A, B, S select line, and D as a data input. Next. Role of select line. If S, that is equal to select line, is equal to 0, the output what we get will be according to the value present on A, whereas when the select line is 1, the output will be a value according to the B input. Let's have a role play for this, and my team will help to explain you this truth table in the form of enacting the play. Before I go in detail of this role play, let me introduce which team member is going to operate as a what input, data input, select input. This is the select line going to be enacted by Mateen. You can see that there is a S indicated on his body, S as a select line. Next is Zafar. Mr. Zafar will be acting as an input A, and Mr. Ismail will be acting as an input B, whereas Mr. Jamil will be acting as an data output D. So you will take all your positions, and as you can observe on this truth table that when S is equal to 0, the output totally depends on A. It is least bother what are the values of B. That is, this cross indicates it is a don't care. It may be 0, it may be 1. Let's see enacting this concept. When S is equal to 0, the select line is 0. At that time, the data present on A, which is nothing but 0, is going to be transferred at the output D. You can see how the data is going to be inactive. At the same time, you can observe the input B is sitting on a chair, indicating that the input B is inactive when select line is 0. Taking the second condition, when S is equal to 0, the data present on A may be 1, as the second row of truth table shows here. So the input is 1. At the same time, when select line is 0, the input data 1 on A will be transferred to the output D. Case second, when S is equal to 1, now the input A will be inactive, whereas the B will be active. You can observe that my team members input A have shut down on a chair and input B is now active. So when S is equal to 1, the data present on B input, that is 0, is going to be transferred to D. In the second case, when S is equal to 1, input B may have a value of 1, that is going to be transferred to the output D. Next. Next line. The next important topic or the correlated topic of multiplexer is demultiplexer, which is an inverse of multiplexer or opposite of multiplexer. You can observe on this PPT that it is a device which transfers data of one input to many outputs. That means demultiplexer is having a single input and many outputs. These many outputs depend on, again, numbers even, that is 2, 4, 8, 16. The reason I have discussed before few minutes. The data transfer to any one output line totally depends on the value of select line input. Coming to the generalized form of a demultiplexer, take as the simplest form 1 is to 2 raised to n demux, where small n indicates number of select lines, 2 raised to n indicates number of outputs. In the case of multiplexer, we have seen that this 2 raised to n is a number of inputs, whereas in a demultiplexer, this is only the change, that 2 raised to n is a number of outputs. Again, we can see that in its simplest form, that is 1 is to 2 raised to n. Here, the demultiplexer is having two outputs, one select line and one input. Next, this is the block diagram, which shows that there is only one input to demultiplexer, one select line, as you can see on the top of this block, and two outputs indicated by the different variables, D as in data input, S as a select line, and A and B are the outputs of demultiplexers. Let's enact the operation of demultiplexer, where now the person holding a D, that is Mr. Jamil, will act as an input of demultiplexer, whereas select line will be enacted by the same person, and A and B, which were acting as an input in multiplexer, now they will be acting as a output in the multiplexer case. In a PPT, you can observe that when S is equal to 0, data input is connected to output D, and when S is equal to 1, data input is connected to output B. Now let's enact this. When S is equal to 0, there are two conditions of D. Either the D can be 0 or D can be 1. Let's consider the first condition, that is D is equal to 0. So when S is equal to 0, data present on D input, that is 0, will be transferred to in output A. You might have observed one thing, that when S became 0, that is select line, at the same time the output B was inactive and A was active. On the contrary to the multiplexer, where A and B were acting as an input. At the same time, when S is equal to 0, the input can be 1 and the 1 will be transferred again to A, as select line is 0 itself till now. In the second case, when S is equal to 1, B is going to be active and A is becoming inactive. When S is equal to 1, A have been inactive and B is active now. So the data present at the input, which is D, it may be 0, it may be 1, till S is equal to 1. When S is equal to 1, suppose let's take an example that D is equal to 0. 0 is going to be transferred to output B. You can see the data is going to be transferred and the data have been transferred to the output B. On the same ground, unless and until the select line is going to be change its value, the D is not going to change the data transfer to the B. When S is equal to 1, the second condition, it may be 1, and finally this 1 is going to be transferred to output B. This was the enacting of a 1:2 raised to n demultiplexer. Coming to the power presentation, you can observe this is the truth table what my team members have tried their level best to explain you in enacting the human motions. That is d is equal to 0. You can observe d is equal to 0, s is equal to 0, output A is active whereas B is inactive. In a similar manner, when d is equal to 0, select line is 1, as select line is 1, A will be inactive and B is active. Similarly, the rest two lines can be explained. Thanks for all. This was a presentation given by the team member